Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grigsby's War in the East. No, I am extremely tired today, so don't expect too much. I was doing some taxi run last night, and yeah, I didn't end up going to bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning, so much fun, so much fun. Fun on the bun, that's what we call it. Righto. We're going to re-establish the front line here. I do need to get more men onto that is for damn sure. The issue really is the zone of control. I mean, this will once again fall, perhaps to a joint attack here, it's possible. But either way, we still need to extract ourselves from the Moscow vicinity with the Panzer armies. Right, still with these partisans. Head over to Vyazma. Smolensk. Back to Mogilev. There we go. Righty. I do have another division there that will come in handy. Okay. So that's all partisans dealt with for the moment, at least all the active partisan bands. Now this is the main issue here. What we do have to consider here is that while we are in winter, the Soviets can send supply over the Lake Ladoga here. However, once the ice thaws, they no longer can. So for the time being, I need to hold on to these ports of Novoya, Ladoga, and Svitsa, however the hell you say it. We need to hold on to these two ports here. Obviously this one too, if we can hold it. This one's not as much at risk though, however. So yeah. Okay. This is going to be much easier said than done. But let's compound force together. Now, we do have these fortified zones that will build strength in time, but I doubt we'll have enough time. Okay, we can make this work. Righto. Let's consider, do I move here or do I move here? I think I should move here, really. Right, we'll move these infantrymen up. Okay. Now then. The issue here is that we need to get these reinforcements to the front line, and that's going to be far easier said than done. Right. I mean, the main risk is this force here. That is the main risk. So what we need to do here then is basically we need to prevent this force here, as well as this force, but this force is secondary. There's this force as well, but that's not as big of a danger, and this pen is rather large. And let's go with something smaller. Right, yeah. So what we need to do then is we need to hold this line here. Not really for any reason to do with the rail line, but the rail line is quite nice if I could ever get some supply running up there. But basically, so we have some room to fall back while these fortified zones build up any sort of strength to enable us to do something. Now, whether this will hold or not is unknown. We'll reinforce this line here. Okay. So that should potentially hold. Should. Let's attach some support here then. There we go. Now then, that army actually has some support. They should be a little bit stiffer in their defensive operations. Now we do have some guard regiments. So we have the 1st Guard Corps. We have a Guards Rifle Brigade. Guards Rifle. Okay. Now then. There is some potential options here. The most beautiful thing that we have going for us is the fact that we have rail lines up to here, and here as well. So, what I need to do then is I need to send a panzer army to this area here. If we hold a straight line here, basically check that advance for the time being, get the panzers around, then we can make things work. The only issue is I only have 24,000 in rail capacity. So no matter what, we have to make a choice. We either strive to send a panzer army to the Oratula area this turn, then again I could always move them via normal capacity, which I think I may do considering that we have rail lines all the way down there, so they would receive the full amount of supplies, no matter what. So actually, just speaking of that accord, then I will go with that. Now then, I need to work out how to redistribute these forces again. They have become quite mixed. No. Let's see, HQs? Ah, boy, I'm tired. Okay. So 3rd Panzer Army is lacking a number of armoured vehicles. No. I'm not entirely certain how many Panzer... Well, actually, what we could do is we could take a look at the 1st Panzer Army. Now, the 1st Panzer Army has... there's 2 armoured there, so that's 4 Panzers. So 5 Panzers to each Panzer Army, or Panzer Divisions, should work. So we have 1, 2, 3... that was a 4th. 5, okay, so that's 5. So what we'll do then is we'll send... we'll keep 3rd Panzer with 2nd Panzer Army, but this 8th Panzer Army will be moved over to 3rd Army. And there you go. They're now subject to 3rd Panzer Army. This is the thing, actually. We do have... I mean, this is a lot of panzer strength. We can't really have it all distributed evenly. So I suppose what we could potentially do, then, is try to create a situation where we have one stronger panzer army, one panzer army in reserve, and then a panzer army in refit. That could potentially work until we start to even things out. We'll find out. What I could always do is I could do a little bit of research and figure out the historical order of battle, and I could see who has to be assigned to who, which would be quite nice. Keep things organised. Okay. Now, So the rail line is here. So I can fall back some distance. Fall back. Okay. What we'll do then is we'll fall back first. No, I don't know actually. Let's see. What I do need to do is I need to be able to break through in 2 locations. The issue here is weather. The weather really isn't suitable for this kind of operation right now. Especially in this terrain. Right. We need to be realistic. So, I think we're going to go for the Orel Tula sector. I think that's the most realistic we can be. And the one with the most conceivable chance of a victory. Okay. Right, 17th Panzer is very weak right now. So they will be moved out of the way. The 12th Panzer is fit for action. Third Panzer is not suited for action at the moment. 10th Panzer, Okay. Right, no more capacity. Okay. Yeah, 17th is by far the weakest here. Okay, we need to do some rather drastic reorganization. I need to have 2nd Panzer Army retreat further, probably towards reserve. I believe you need to be about 10 hexes away from the enemy to really receive refits, or at least for the refit to really take effect. I can't remember if that's a true thing, I'm pretty sure I read that in the manual. So we'll move them further back. And frankly, that amount of time to the rear to rest and recuperate is going to be very good for them. And frankly, the infantry can hold the front line here. I can always move some infantry into Moscow itself to make sure that we hold it. And this is a beautiful thing. We already have the city. So there's no great fight for it. We can use it as our base. Right. Now let's go about linking these rails up. Okay. So we have a lot of headquarters here, which is rather confusing. So what we need to do then is we need to solve this out into the actual different cores. Okay. Fourth Panzer Division could probably go into action, potentially. But then again, so could 10th and 3rd Panzer by that logic. And I'd rather have them at a good level of strength. I mean, 200 unflight vehicles is a good level of strength, and I'd like to keep that. The reason for that is basically I can break them up into brigades, and each brigade should have about 70 odd to, I don't know, 70, 80, 60, something like that. I'm too tired to do maths now, but basically like 200 plus divided by 3, you know what I mean? So each brigade has a decent number of armored fighter vehicles, whilst with 150 they would only have 50 each, which really just make them significantly more vulnerable, as barely above strength of a Russian tank brigade. And that's unacceptable. Okay, let's see. We will lose men here, but we're going to make them bleed. We're going to make them bleed for every single inch of ground. Okay. Now, granted, we have practically nothing there, but that's okay. It's going to take the Russians a decent amount of time to reach that position, and if needs be, I can always shift something around, and we can hold it. Right. I'm going to fall back here because, frankly, it does not help me. It's a very interesting shape. Aye. So at the moment we currently have this as a front line, which doesn't do much for me. I think what I would like to do is establish a new front line on the Kaladin Highway. If I have these rails, I'll try to keep hold of them. But basically, something like that. So that reduces the frontage for us, allows us to get more men into reserves. And the thing we have to bear in mind here is that the Russians don't have much in the way of reserves. So if we can bring the lines closer to our supply, closer to the Panzer armies, so therefore they're closer to supply, they have to complete small encirclements, which would increase our chance of success considering that we're closer to our supply lines, closer to allied forces, closer to reserves, formations and reinforcements to those actual formations. I think that's a good idea. Yes. I do believe that's a good idea. So begin the process of falling back. Granted, I'm surrendering a lot of ground, but this ground does not matter. What I'm keen to do here is I'm keen to free up this reserve formation. Well, this reserve body. If I can free that up, that means I have greater freedom of movement. Okay. Now, do I hold this town? I'd like to hold these towns considering that there is supply and fuel in there. That, and they are good defensive positions. Yeah. Okay. We'll organise the front as well. Okay. Now I could do with a second core down there. That one would be ideal. The reasoning for that is basically I want to have further forces sent down there. And I need a force probably down here by Irae. So we can... Oh, maybe down here as well. Maybe by Bryansk or Bryansk. Okay. Actually, I rescind that order. Is there enough to take them off? There is enough to take them off? That's good. That means they can be ready for action. Right. That's good. Now this is a difficult situation. So our forces at Tula really don't have much room to fall back onto. Right. Interesting. I was just thinking about the possibility then of snipping that basically by attacking the 3rd Guards rifle and trying to surround them. But frankly, I don't have enough force for that, and it would cost me too many men for it to be anywhere near worthwhile. So we will continue to fall back. Okay. Let's see here. Right. Now what I'm thinking here is that we basically could have a potential to push through here, then do like a shallow pocket, just to cut the skin off, basically. Right. Now here's a big issue. There we go. At least that's reinforced to a degree. Okay, now these panzers. I will have them move via their own steam. Okay. What I'm doing here is basically moving out. I want to free up the area of engagement. Hello. Ah, that'll be fine. Okay. Okay, this will be the Moscow occupation force over here. The role of these men is just to ensure the, well, ensure the security of Moscow. Ninth Army will take up residence in Moscow. Okay. So if possible, move out. Okay. Just trying to reorganize here. Yep, you're already in there. Okay. Actually, we'll have these men to 13th. Oh, sorry, 12th. Okay. The 24th now. There we go. So at least we have things organized to a degree. Obviously we have too many panzers in different armies, and we need to reorganize that. But this will take time. Plus I need to do some order of battle research. But already we are reducing the front line considerably. I'll now take these men off, have them put back onto the rail line. They did their part. Ultimately, this should save us a few more vehicles. It does nothing for me. It does really nothing for the Soviets either. Considering that these rail lines are broken here. They gained, what, 2 towns back and a bunch of terrain that doesn't matter. But I've become... well, I've moved closer to my own supply lines. I've reduced the amount of vehicle need. And we've freed up a few extra men, so I can have these extra men sent over here to the north now. So that means I'll be able to potentially bridge the gap. Which is looking good. Okay, now Crimea. It's a very, very interesting situation. One that I don't really particularly like. Right. Let's present a threat over here. By presenting a threat, we are doing far more than we could militarily. There we go. Undoubtedly, this will collapse. Now then. I say we should probably extract ourselves from this area here. And we're getting hemmed in and it's not working for us. We need to move back. Sure, we surrender ground, but ground is relevant. Allow our remaining allies to get away. Okay. Now, ideally they keep on coming and we'll find a way to effectively cut them off. Extra reinforcements are on their way. At least that's something extra. Okay. Right. Let's see if we can manage. Oh, right. There we go. So what we're trying to do here is we're ultimately trying to get around. Issue is the lack of trucks. That's the real big issue here. Such a large deficit. Okay. Right, we should be able to break through here. I'd have liked to have done that, but we'll see what we can get. Right, that was good. Okay. Ah, damn it. If they'd been over there or something. Either way, they're going to be rather hasty to extract. Let's see, I might be able to beat them back here. No, they held. Okay, that cost me. Yeah, that cost me quite a bit. We'll move some forces here then. Okay. Hmm. Okay, there's a sledgehammer right there. Right, just keep building up. Now, the thing is, do we move now, or... I mean, we might be able to do this with infantry, perhaps. But we do have something here that will give them some pause for thought. Okay. It's going to be very interesting to see how things turn about here. Right, let's make that, make sure everybody's just on refit just in case. I mean, even if they can refit or not, then at least it's that option there. But the good news is that we have extracted the Panzer armies, and we should be potentially able to hold the front line, which is excellent. This is a huge concentration of force. I mean, the fact is, let's take a look here. The Panzer groups represent, like, what, 500, 600,000 men maybe in total? I've not really worked it out in total. But a good significant strength of that armed forces anyway. At the moment, we do have a clear advantage in armoured fighting vehicles, which we do need to hold on to. And I've lost a lot there, which is rather saddening, but ah well. Okay. That one's moved, that one's moved. That one... Oh no, this one hasn't moved. Okay, we'll have this one move towards the south. Reason for that is I want to try to build up the rails down here. Ideally what I need to do is once the weather improves, because the issue is that's coming up next is we're going to be dealing with a horrific level of mud again. And that means that movement is once again going to slow. Right, almost got rails into Kharkov itself. But at least we have that rail connection now. So from Kharkov we'll head towards Kursk, if we could. I mean, I wish I could go for Belgorod, or... Well, up this rail line would probably be the safest. But we'll see. The rails are getting closer, and that's a good thing. It's improving. Right. I do have these men on the rail still. That's good news. I'll use them just as a force over here. Just something in the center. There we go. What's nice is once these rails are done over here, then they will probably move around the center. We'll see. I mean, the rail network is definitely getting there. It's a lot stronger than it was before. And what's nice is the fact that we can absorb partisan attacks to a certain degree and still keep things moving. I mean, what will happen in the, well, in one of the East 2, is obviously when a real logistics system is implemented, things will be significantly different. As obviously we'll have to balance the amount of logistics flowing over one line versus another with units and etc. Okay, so that's all done. Overall, not too big of a turn in regards to movement. I'm unsure as to whether I should move these panzers. I think the thing is, if we stay here, we preserve vehicles, we preserve the current fuel situation, and we can move further the next turn. Or I can move up and be in a position to respond. God, I wish I could break these guys out. If we were closer or the weather wasn't as bad, we'd probably be able to attempt air resupply, but the distance is too far, and there's too much in the way now. Okay. So we'll call things to an end for this turn here, I think. There's not really much else going on at the moment. It's basically going to be see who can survive over here. Okay. I do think we'll be okay. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. We have connected up now through the Leningrad area, which is fantastic. If I could take the one port in the Leningrad area, then pretty much no matter what, Leningrad would be doomed. I mean, it's already fallen, which is good. It's already fallen. Okay. If we can make a lot of little pockets work, then we can really chip away at the Soviet strength. Because that's the thing here. I've taken large losses with my allies, but I haven't lost actual divisions as of yet. Well, as if, yep, there we go, awesome. Yeah, you can see here the Panzer Division, just nothing left. Practically nothing left. Good. Very good. And you can see that was a cavalry corps as well. Well, there we go. They've just expended pretty much all of their strength right there. That's fantastic. Okay. There's a lot of strength expended there. We should be able to pocket these forces here next turn. And in the depths of the blizzard, that is good. It's every little victory, every little thing like this does make a big difference overall. And that will make a big difference. That will significantly ease up the pressure on this front. I've kind of gotten a bad with a reverse, really, to historical. I mean, in reality, the German forces were mostly down here in the south, while the Allies were mostly holding the flanks. I've kind of gone the other way. And, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Right. Issue is we're losing the armored fighting vehicles. Well, you take a few damage and then there's a few permanently lost. Good. Oh, damn. Yeah, there's not much in the center here. There's a division, a cavalry force. But once we get these reserves back over to the north, that should be okay. These losses aren't too bad. I mean, we do lose a few men wounded, but then again, they do inflict many more their number. Yeah, that's 4 times the number lost there. And that's a significantly smaller force that they're fighting against. There we go. Almost 5 times again. That seems to be a rough ratio for our defending battles. Only half, though. That was a good battle. Okay, no problem. Kind of a problem, but we do have Panzer's leash on this rail line, so if they advance further, we can always cut them off. Which I might try to do, actually. Obviously, this isn't going to hold perfectly, because we've pulled a lot of force away. But yeah, look at that. Those were some insane losses. Oh, goddamn. '19th Army. 26. Yeah, look at those losses there. Again, 19th. So this is the 19th Army that's primarily... I imagine that is the 19th Army there. If I could punch through there and repel them, that would be quite good. That would really disorganize their front line. Yep, we held here. This is it. These cavalry corps are... They are initially powerful on the offensive, but the Soviet doctrine... It's returning to pre-war ideas of basically deep operations, but it's not there yet. I mean, 1941 really was a massive shake-up for the Soviet Union. In terms of doctrine. 1942 really, 1943 was really... okay, that's a shame. I was hoping they wouldn't attack them, but at least they attack them rather than attacking down here. So we may barely hold yet again, which is good. That gives me another week. Right. Let's see. Different opportunities are sort of presenting themselves. It's been a real pain to pull back from Tula. I should have pulled back long ago. But these are lessons that we learn. Right, so 3rd Army. No, that's 29th Army. Ah, it's different elements here. 31st Army. The fact that we have so many armies in this general vicinity is interesting. Wow, that's 31 there. Sorry, 39 BF-109s. Light losses. Most like a scout in battle, really. But even so, they lost 5 armored fighter vehicles. Okay. Indeed, the deeper they push, the better. They are trying to cut me off here, but I can pull back. Which we will need to do, especially considering this. But I can always destroy that unit, or push it back. So this is via Kharkov. It's interesting, really. We have Soviet forces with a lot of strength. And then we have a vast majority where it's barely enough to really hold any sort of formation. But what I do like is the fact that these forces were not all concentrated into the shock armies. They were not used against Moscow. And with this diaspora of force, they're going to find it difficult. Because ultimately, I can absorb the punishment in a lot of areas. I've taken a huge amount of territory from them, a huge amount of industry, and ultimately their largest cities. I mean, Kiev, Leningrad, Stalingrad is not really that large, Moscow, lots of areas. Minsk as well, another huge city, a large city. So that's a lot of population denied to the Red Army right now. That's a lot of industry denied to the Red Army. Yes, here comes the desperate counterattacks. Should this succeed over here, that will be nice. I need to use these Jaeger forces to try and get around them. If we can get around them, then we can try to cut them off as well. Ultimately, savage the 57th Army. Heavy losses. Yep, there's a lot of armoured fighting vehicles lost there. Oh, we have a tank division. Wow, I've not seen one of those for a while. Not a problem. Not great, but not a problem. That is surprising. Heavy losses there. 4th Romanian. The Mountain Brigade really showing its worth. Slovakian Mobile doesn't really seem to do too much, but then again they are rather weak. I am somewhat hoping that the weather breaks this turn. I don't know. We'll have ice for a while, but it's not going to be to the same level. It'll come down. They are overextending. I can punish them for that. If I could get there and here, we could punish them. Okay. Now they're getting cocky. Oh, well, fair enough. Oh, that was heavy loss. That was a really large amount of loss there. It was inevitably going to happen, considering our position in the center was compromised. But we did make them play quite heavy. Well, heavily. I could do a hit in that airfield. Well, not really. It's not really worthwhile. Right, there we go. So Rostov is in a tenuous position. I mean, we've been pushed back from the Donets and the Don River. Well, same river, but you know what I mean. Which has been difficult. But frankly, we've not really had much of a chance with the logistics. We just can't really get the same support to our men. But the time of the blizzards is coming to a close very shortly. As I say that, I don't believe it, but we'll get there eventually. Right, so that was a heavy loss of life there. I think those remaining forces really did put us over the edge. But then again, this is what I would point out as to last time. Notice the fact that the Soviets lost 19,000, almost 20,000 men, so... I mean, we did lose a lot of disproportionate numbers there with our Axis allies. I wish we could sort it by, like, German and Axis allies. But then again, a lot of our men were disabled, but they will eventually return. Okay. Notice they did lose 226 armoured fighting vehicles. That's a lot of armoured fighting vehicles. We lost a lot of guns there, which is a shame. Right, they lost a number of air forces. Okay. Right. 4.1 million. At least we held here. That's a good thing. I just wish that these guys could attack. It's really quite irritating that there's no way. Oh well. I do have these Finnish infantry forces now. So at least that is a guaranteed amount of force now. There we go, we finally captured all that too. Right. It seems as though the vehicle situation has improved slightly. I'm sure it seems to have improved. I think we were at 188k or something. Let's take a look at the weather. Okay, so yep, so we're still at blizzard level. Okay. But that's okay. That means I will be able to cut off these forces this turn, isolate and destroy them. You can see here that this force has taken a lot of damage. The 1st Panzer Army has suffered. Notice the shifting of forces. Right. How do we fare in Stalingrad? We still hold for the moment. So I could retake the other part of Stalingrad now. I don't think that'd be worthwhile. I could even potentially isolate them. They do have a lot of combat power there. Just not enough. Again, lots of partisans. The 211th has arrived. That's interesting that they're all forming here. So that means I'm going to have to bunch up my Finnish forces. Okay. I mean, this really has been the bane in my side. If I'd have pulled back from Tula earlier, I'd have probably been in a much better situation. But these are mistakes that we make. And frankly, I didn't realize how long this blizzard would go on for. I knew it was bad, but goddamn. I was hoping that the initial buffer of vehicles that we had would be sufficient to get us through the winter. But it's not. It was nowhere near enough. Okay. So there's 167,000 in repair. That's a huge number. That is down from a high of like just over 1,300. But it's not too bad. Okay. Is this 30? Again, I would like these to be rolling out. We do have the volunteers moving into different formations though, so that's good. At least that's giving us that support element. We should hopefully make a difference. I mean, the Wehrmacht is stronger here. I mean, we're holding a much better position than historically accurate. The fact that we hold on to the major cities like Moscow and Leningrad is a huge difference. That's really good for us. So what that means is that there's no real political objectives anymore. I mean, we do have Stalingrad as well, and that was a political objective. But the real truth now is, well, in terms of grand plans, I want to move up that way, isolate that, but I'd love to be able to do something like this, which is something I've really been thinking about a lot, considering that they have been steadily pushing this way. They're moving away from these rails. If I was able to send a force like that, ultimately would require far more strength than I have right now. So what I'd have to do is basically small encirclements like this, bite a chunk off and keep moving, and then eventually we'd be able to destroy that front line. But at this stage, really any large loss for the Soviets in terms of divisions is really bad. They can build a few divisions each turn, but if we can destroy, I don't know, say 10 divisions per turn, or at least any sort of number per turn, then we can prevent them from really building up. They might be able to replace the ones lost, but they'll never be able to build up that strength again, which is important. These forces are almost starved, so I must prevent them from reaching the lake. Which is doable. That is doable. And we do have a significant amount of defensive power here now. And they still have to move through a lot of zone controls. So I don't think they'll make it. What I do need to do is try to put myself into a position where we can surround units. That's a lot of power. Okay, continue to fall back here. But let's do some reconnaissance then, and we'll see what we're dealing with. Yeah, we do have a deep amount of reconnaissance over here. We can see basically everywhere, barring Crimea. Again, now what do you guys notice? The significant lack of reserves. No. 2,815 armored fighting vehicles. Total 3,288. We at the moment have 5,287 total, but only 4,965 available. But the fact is we have almost double the amount of armored fighting vehicles. Our numbers really tend to gravitate to this sort here. 3.6 million, with about 3.4 9 available for action. That tends to be the number we gravitate towards. And they supposedly have 4.1 million, but they only have 3.96 million available. They only have 5,000 more artillery guns than I do. Which is incredible, considering how many they had before. And there was a time when we did have more artillery pieces than they did. Which is good. Yeah. I imagine these might be headquarters, I'm not entirely sure. They might be forces. But what we need to do now is shift our mobile forces to where they're needed. We'll perform small-scale envelopments of Soviet forces. And these small-scale envelopments will lead to larger and larger ones, as ultimately we build up the confidence of the Wehrmacht once more. See, there would be a possibility here if I had... Well... 3rd Panzer Army is Army Group Center. 2nd Panzer Army is Army Group Center. So if 2nd Panzer Army heading down to this area here at Tula, we keep, was this 3rd Panzer Army here. 3rd Panzer is weaker, so they could break through here. We could try to roll them back and try to bring about some envelopments. Because this is frankly it, there's much potential for envelopment. Right. Okay. What I do like is the fact that these men have been really just tying up a lot of Soviet force. The fact that we hold the city here prevents them from using this rail line. They have to use instead that rail line. And they have to go all the way down here, all that way, then back up. If they want to go down that way. Otherwise, they have to go down this way. And these rails may not all be repaired. Who knows? Probably are by now. But either way, it does make it difficult for the Soviet Union. They don't have the easy access that they once did. Okay. I'd love to know when the weather ends. Yeah. Ah, okay. That's interesting. So the weather will begin to ease up. So next turn, we'll see snow, not blizzard. And then maybe the turn after that we'll see snow here. Right. Okay. Yeah, this is it. So we recruited 2,070 volunteers from the 1,047 manpower centers. 1,098 were recruited from the pool of captured men. Good to know. Okay. Interesting to see that we are scrapping here. So we're gaining armaments and vehicles. That's quite interesting, actually. Right. Very interesting. Okay. What I want to see here is the Panzer IVs. So we have the Panzer IV C, E, and F. So this one is built. None at the moment. Wanted. So we require 109 rifle squads. We do require a bunch of labour squads actually too. Right. So we need 95 Panzer IVs. That's the big need. Okay. This is good to know. Ah, here we go, Germany, actually. I was looking at the wrong one. Oh, was I? Probably yes. Oh no, okay. Interesting. Is this showing the older logs? Possibly. Right, so Soviet morale is 45, German morale is 74. Finnish morale 70, Italian 45, Romanian 45, Hungarian 50, Slovakian 50. Righto. Losses by type. So we can see here the breakdown. Okay, you can see here the vast majority of our losses is attrition. So that's like weather and etc. Aye. Right, anyway, we'll leave it here then for the time being. So I'd like to thank you all so very much for watching. I apologise for being quite tired today and it being a short session. I hope you will tune into the next one. So, for now, goodbye.